Hello, welcome back to More Fun Fixing It. I'm talking about soldering irons again because, well, it's one of the most important tools in our job, really. And I think a good soldering iron really does make the work a little bit easier. You can, as somebody pointed out in my previous soldering iron video, you can use a really terrible soldering iron and you can be quite good with it. But why would you? I mean, why would you struggle? That doesn't make any sense to me. A good soldering iron does a lot of things better than a bad soldering iron. Better. Anyway, so this was the one I featured in that previous video, the T12X Plus by OSS team. And I pointed out that this had a very serious safety flaw in that it didn't have an earth fault. Now, I just want to quickly, before I get onto the new soldering iron that I've been sent, I just wanted to point out address a couple of the comments that I got in that video. And there were a lot of comments saying, you just need to put an earth wire on it. You shouldn't need to put an earth wire on it. And a lot of people don't know how to put an earth wire on it and might buy this not knowing that they need to put an earth wire on it because it doesn't come with any instructions saying you need to put an earth wire on it. So saying you just need to put an earth wire on it doesn't address the problem that this is a really dangerous thing. Not having a proper earth on the whole of the case, on the whole of the metal chassis, is really, really dangerous. I did explain in that video that if this became live, for some reason, a component or a wire came loose inside and touched the case, there's nothing to stop it being live. My distribution system, my electrical supply, wouldn't know that this wasn't supposed to be live. It would just become part of the circuit. And then if I touched an earth and then this at the same time, all of that voltage and current would go through me and most likely stop me being. So I don't accept just put an earth wire on it as a valid argument. That is nonsense, frankly. Sven pointed out that even if you did put an earth wire on it, like some people have here, because this is partially insulated, because it's anodized, this would then not be earthed, and that could still become live at a different resistance to this. And then the front case, which is also anodized aluminium, I'm assuming, would also not be attached to the earth. So you would need to attach an earth wire to this to this part, and this part, and this part, or you would need to grind them down so that there was good electrical contact between them and make sure that the screws were all tight. That's not good enough. So anyway, a lot of people suggested contacting Big Clive and letting him tear it apart. I did email him and he hasn't replied. I'm sure he's a very busy man, but the offer is there if he ever wants it. I don't ever feel comfortable giving this to anybody. So it's just going to probably sit in storage for a long time. Now, the iron that I recommended in that video is the Pine Seal 64. These are about, I think I picked this up for less than £20. And this is for your general hobbyist that's just doing ZX Spectrum repairs and Commodore 64 repairs. This is perfect. This, for that era of computer and that kind of thickness and density of material on a motherboard that you need to heat up quickly, this does the job brilliantly. With a good power supply, it will do everything that you want it to do. It will start to struggle on things like getting the caps, the through-hole caps off of an Amiga 500 or 600 or 1200. That's where a heavy ground plane might defeat this, but you can then add hot air into the mix and it will still work. It will still do the job. I've done that myself in the past. I love this soldering iron, but there's no reason not to have something a bit better. I upgraded from this to this. This is my Sugon A9, and this one has served me very, very well. You can see it's it's a bit grotty, and it's got a lot of solder splash all over it and bits and pieces of copper braid, well, not copper braid, brass wool. And I love this soldering iron, and I've recommended it to everybody that's asked me what sort of soldering iron they should get. This one has never let me down. I love the flexibility of the silicon wire on the handle. I like the comfort of the handle. I love the way it heats up ridiculously fast in just a few seconds. I like the sleep mode on it. I like the fact that it's got some preset heat modes, and that it's simple to use. I like that the spare tips are really easy to change. You just pop them in here, yank it to pull them out, and then put a new one in. Absolutely no issues with this soldering iron at all, and no reason for me to upgrade. But Sugon contacted me and said, would you like us to send you a soldering iron to have a look at? And I said, oh yeah, that would be nice. And they said, how about a Sugon A9? And I said, well, I've already got one of them, so not much point. And then they offered me something else, which I'm going to put this one to one side and I'll get the box. It's just arrived. Okay, so the box was in another box. It's in a really nice packing box, but it had, I think it got forwarded on and then repacked at some point because, yeah, it's looking a bit sorry for itself, the box. But fortunately, I hope, the inner packaging has done a good job of protecting it. So I'm going to take it all out first and then we'll look at what we've got. Here we go. This is a Sugon T61, and you can see it's the big brother of the Sugon A9. Let's take the blue tack off. I don't need the blue tack on there anymore. Now oh no, I was going to say I'm a little bit disappointed to see that it's missing the storage for the tips and everything, but they are actually here in the bit behind. There's a little slot back there for the tips. Oh, and the bit to actually remove them is down here now. It's got this, instead of brass wool, it's got this, I've never used this, like a wire brush type affair. I wonder if that's magnetic. No, it's not magnetic, so it's properly brass, that is. So that's okay. I'll have to get used to that. And one of the complaints I've heard about this is that when you wipe the iron through it, because it's a brush, the solder gets flicked and makes a mess all over the place. Well, look at this one. It's it's an absolute mess anyway. It's that's not going to be an issue. So yeah, let's give this a chance and see how it works out. I'm quite interested to see how that works. So what have we got going on here? It looks like this bit is now adjustable, so I can change the angle of that. I like to be about there. We've still got the bit on the side for the arm bit that hangs the wire off of it. So here is the. There's a bit missing. Okay, before I go any further, I need to point out that this was sent to me free of charge. But Sugon have no input into this video. They didn't even ask me to make a video. They just wanted to send me a soldering station. Now, there is a bit missing because this can take... Oh, I think that's the case. They've sent this... I think these are C270, this iron here. This handle here. And mine is a... T245 or something like that. It's the size of the tip, and it looks like there's a standard pack of T245s. Yeah, S245 that says in there, so maybe it's an S245. I don't know what I'm talking about. And they've also sent this, which is a C270. It's a much heavier iron, and these tips, which, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. This is for soldering serious, heavy stuff, which we'll get into in a sec. I'm going to leave the knife tip out, actually. For now, actually, no, let's stick them all in here. Now, because they've sent the 245 tips, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to come with a 245 handle and a C270 handle. So that's a little bit disappointing, but I have got my old one. This should be fully compatible with this. It just presses there. Yeah, that will just fit straight into there in the same way that this one will. And they are quite quick release as well. So it's not going to be difficult to switch between them. I'm not going to be using this one in my day-to-day soldering. That's absolutely crazy. But let's get it set up and see what it's like. So the power difference between this one is a 160 watt soldering iron, which is plenty. That is, I think that's something like a 65 watt, something like that. 60 watt, 17 to 60 watt, depending on the voltage you feed it. And this being 160 watt, that's the big difference between the pine seal and this soldering iron. But this one is 400 watt. That's 7 amps. So, yep, that's a lot more watt. One thing I want to check first before I go any further is, I mean, this is a plastic case, so this one doesn't need to be earthed. The case doesn't need to be earthed in the same way. It has an earth pin, but I'm wondering if the tip is going to be earthed, because that can be important. Put a tip in there. Oh, nice. Nice solid feeling stand. Right, I've unplugged the kettle lead. It did come, I don't know why. Oh, all right, so they sent a kettle lead, but with a Euro plug on it, I assume. And I don't know, people keep telling me the difference between these things, but I don't know what an American or European plug looks like, because I've never been there. Well, I've been to Europe, but I've never plugged anything in that, well, not in the last 10 years. So they sent me this a depth adapter, but this plug has like the earth pin there. I think there is a way of getting a pin in there, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. So that one, that can be plugged in there, but it can also be plugged in there like that. So yeah, you might not want to use one of them. These always just go straight in the bin for me. Along with this, that's going in the bin as well. Right, so let's plug in my UK best plug in the world plug and check for continuity between the earth pin and the tip. So we've got BP mode. Yes. Ouch. Yep. Full earth path to the tip from the earth pin. So what else? I've still got to put on the windscreen wiper thing. Okay, so with that can just pop in there like that, just to hold the wire. I'm not sure that's actually very useful now. I might prefer the wire to be lower, but anyway, I'm going to leave that in there for now. And I need to do the peel. Let's get you zoomed down for the peel. Brace yourself. Oh, yeah. Nice. So we've still got the same arrangement, channels, up and down and set. It's going to be the same interface, I'm sure. Oh, and it did come with an instruction manual, which I'll probably ignore for a bit. It's all very simple, like temperature up. Pressing up once will increase the set temperature by 1 degrees. Down will press it. Will decrease the temperature by 1 degrees. Okay, yeah. It's the only thing I really need to know is how to calibrate. But I'm hoping it will be calibrated close enough that I won't need to. So let's plug it in and see what this big old chunky tip can do. Lots of beeping going on. And we've got 300, 350 and 380. Yeah, so let's change that to my preferred settings. Oh, that moves quick. And then hold that one. Right, channel 3 is now 400. That 350 on that one, and I want this one to be 330. Excellent. And we're in Celsius, I think. Yeah, double pressing gets you between Celsius and Fahrenheit. What's 470, 245, 210? What is that? I don't know what that is. That's different. Okay, so I think that's the tip identification. So it's recognised that there's a 470 in there. And I've just realised that I can't use this in, well, I could use it, probably use it. I can't, it's not going to work as well because there are no buttons on this. One of the things that I really needed from this, oh, that's heating up, are the buttons on the handle. Or one of the things I really wanted from it. Smoking quite a lot. Let's put that on channel 2. That's, oh, that is really chunky. I'm going to use my extra thick solder wire. I'm not so keen on this. The solder is just sitting on the top. It does do a good job of cleaning it though. Okay, that's good. I am going to have to try it with my other one. I don't really need the temperature adjustment on the handle. That's just a luxury really, but it would be nice to have it. Put that one in there. Okay, that's gone in there fine. It fits in the holder fine, but will it recognise? Yeah, 245. It's recognised the 245. 210 is the very fine one. So that is, yep, heating up very nicely. Okay, I'm liking that. Right, let's see if it's calibrated. A few people pointed out that this is a very cheap and nasty soldering iron calibration tool, and I'm not going to argue with that. It absolutely is. I never claimed anything else. But it gives you an idea of the difference between things. Oh, I need to turn it on. It's 330. So it definitely will need calibrating. That's going to be too low for my needs. Okay, but before I do that, I'm just going to pop it back into my A9. Just pop it back in my A9 and set that to 350 as well, and see if that makes any difference. If it's still 330, then yeah, look, this is going to be 350-ish. As close to 350 as you can get. Right, so that definitely needs calibrating, but I wonder if the chunky tip also needs calibrating. It dwarfs this thing. Okay, so that definitely needs calibrating. Right, so I'll have to work out how to do that. Okay, so it must be recalibrated when the host is turned off. Long press the set key. Turn it off. When the machine enters calibration mode. No, that's not in calibration mode. Let's try just holding the set key. There we go. So we want to go up. It's 10 degrees. You have to press set first, okay. Yeah, that looks pretty close. Close enough for me. I'm going to calibrate the 245 tip as well, or handle. Okay, got the T245 in there. Something went wrong. Okay, I didn't like that for a second, but it's all right now. Okay, let's see what this one does. It might have carried over that calibration. It has. In fact, it's gone way over. Okay, so I'm going to be using this one the most. So what I'm going to do is set this one way down. What? Why is that doing that? It's gone way down. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's my little widget here that's gone wrong or something's going wrong with this, but I'm going to change this. I'll put a new sensor tip thing on it just to make sure it's okay. Could have burnt out. It does look a bit crusty. Right, try that. Okay, that thinks that's 385 now, so that was way too high. There we go, 352. It's going down just a touch. Stick it to 0, actually, the calibration at 0, and see if it was actually accurate. No. There we go, 349. That's as close as I need it to be. Okay, let's try actually soldering something. A really nasty scrap board here. So it's big chunks like this, big blobs of solder on the on this big ground plane here under where the RF modulator goes. That's what I'm interested in, seeing how well it can. Oh my god, it's like butter. It's no problem at all. There is that cap there which goes into that ground there, which is also on this side. This massive slab of solder. This is always difficult for like a pine saw. That it just melted that straight away, and the heat is all the way through the board. The wire is actually being pushed through. That is super good. Even that Sugon A9 takes a little bit of extra effort. It does cope very well with it, but oh, that is fantastic. Okay, so I don't like the method for getting the tips out. So if I've got my new tips lined up at the back here, okay, I've got too many to go in there, but I'll only use, say, that one. I won't use that one. I won't use that one. So these ones will go in the back over here. Okay, yeah, that works. That works nice. Okay, so I've got my favorite tips all in the back here, all lined up. So if I want to switch over to a knife tip, with this one, I can do that on top of the machine. Now I've got to go underneath here, like this, and then pull it out there, and then it's just laying there. I don't know if that's all plastic in there. It might get too hot for it. This is all silicone around here, so this doesn't matter. But now I have to, I mean, I always do this switched off. I can do that and then push it, get it in place like that. I'm not so keen on it being there because you've now got the tip laying in where all the solder splash is. That doesn't feel as good there, but it's better than not having one. Ooh, why did that feel warm? Okay, so this is going to be a thing that I'm going to have to try out in live use and get used to it and see how it works compared to my other one. But I would have liked to have had controls on the handle. I don't know if that comes with the T245. I don't see why not. I do like the fact that I've got these super chonky tips now. I don't know what that's going to be used for. I'm sure that these will come in useful for something at some point, and I'll be grateful for having them, because they're, you know, those jobs where you get a really difficult to solder joint, something really heavy. Now I've got something that will suit me down to the ground. The other negative is it does take up a bit more desk space, workbench space. But that's to be expected. It is a bigger, more powerful unit. The positives are I quite like that the display is facing you, has got a bit more information on it than it had before. This one is just a, you know, I suppose I should show you. Well, it's not going to have a soldering iron plugged in. It might actually not like that. Yes, it's asking for a soldering iron. There we go. It's plugged in now, because it's not plugged into the right one. There we go. So it just showed you temperature, and I think whether it's heating, yeah, and power. It shows you a little power graph across the bottom there, like that, which is enough. It's fine. I still think this is the best soldering iron I've ever bought. I didn't buy this one, so I can't put that in the same category. But I think that this could be a reasonably significant upgrade. I'm only going to know if it is a big upgrade when I come up against something challenging, and I'm not sure I'll be able to compare it. But we will see. Yeah, I like the new style of the buttons, and I like the display. I like the case. I like that it is still compact and still has tool storage. And I like this is adjustable. That's not adjustable on the old one, but I like that this is adjustable, so that's good. Might change that to there actually. Yeah, I like that. So you'll be seeing this one being used on the channel going forward. There's not much else to say really, apart from thank you to Sugon for reaching out and offering to send me this. That is very kind of you. I hope I can do it justice on the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.